Evening again, ladies and gentlemen, fans of Skytear. Welcome once again to another round of the October Clash in the Americas. I am the Commander, once again reporting here for duty. This time I am by myself, as my previous co-caster Michael is now on the battlefield at the top of our screen. Michael will be fielding the 6 Noopton heroes, appropriately from a deck named Noop 10 version 2. His opponent Chris, on the other hand, will be doing Green Blue New. As we see at the bottom there, we have 5 green heroes and 1 blue Estrida to join them. Before the start of the game, we did see that Chris won the coin toss and elected to go first. Unlike the previous match, we have several objectives here that are kill-based. We have the Tamer killing 2 heroes using an outsider, and with the Silent Ambassador as our outsider of choice, that's going to be relatively pretty easy to do. Skytear Master, lead dome 3 times. Win the lead of a control token in the dome 3 times. Sorry, I should probably read the card. That would be effective. And finally, Onslaught, just kill 3 enemy heroes using any means necessary. So before the match, Chris did win the coin toss and elected to go first, as I mentioned. And so now has to decide who he is going to draft. As we mentioned, Michael is bringing the 6 yellow heroes. He will be on the left side of your screen. We'll wait until he drafts his heroes to refresh and see their HP show up properly. Whereas Chris's options include Tlacauli, Estrida, Kotlik, Neliclin, Zakal, and Akla. So only Ishatosk being left out of the green roster, being replaced instead by Estrida. And so we will see what the strategy here is for him. First draft looks like Zakol possibly going to be picked. Yes, indeed, Zakol will appear onto the field here. So Zakol, very powerful hero, a warrior type. When in line of sight of a pillar, able to push people with his attack actions once he damages them, and able to dismantle pillars in order to destroy or to deal 1+ a flip to an enemy minion. We'll see what Michael's response is here from the starting of Zakol. Looking at Michael's deck, I suspect he's going to go for a fairly aggressive strategy. We'll see first, we see Eckert here. We saw her in the previous game, an AoE attack whenever she's projected, and projected heroes not able to be moved by effects generated. And in addition to that, we're going to bring Cythera, the Sky Master himself. His token allows him to deal increased damage with his power card, and also projected heroes may play their power cards as though they were in the same in the same hex as Cythera's illusion. Next up, we see Kotlik coming onto the field here, as well as Akla. So Akla is a marksman, nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. He is able to deal damage to heroes as opposed to minions like Zakol with the removed pillar, and is able to see within 3 hexes and adjacent to a pillar any hero. He will have line of sight to them. Now, that's not Kotlik. There we go. Kotlik, on the other hand, if he is in line of sight of a pillar, gets +1 armor. And Kotlik may remove any number of pillars and get +1 skirmish damage for each pillar removed this activation. Important to note, that is pillar removed by any means. So if Michael were to try and Nightmares Incarnate a pillar, or if another pillar was destroyed for a stone barricade, some other method, those would also count towards Kotlik's skirmish bonus as it stands. Our Rule Master Tapeworm ruled on that a little while ago, that is currently how things work based on its wording. And so we'll see what Michael's response is after seeing these 3. So far, Estrida has not made an appearance. That makes sense, as Estrida is typically more of a control game specialist. And in this game, it's all about the kill power. So who does Michael bring as his last hero? He has a potential second mage in Shafathi. Kenwi could show up. Kenwi being obnoxious, using her token in order to deny attacks from being able to target her. And also allowing Michael's heroes to move whenever they've been hit by damage. That will work. And there she comes. Kenwi comes out. When adjacent to her illusion, cannot be attacked by targets. Projected hero loses HP. You may move them 1 hex. So her purpose is to be obnoxious and allow a lot of movement control. Meanwhile, we see Shafathi over here. When Shafathi resolves a skirmish, he can teleport, swapping with his illusion. And when a projected hero declares skirmish, predict one so you can see what exactly is going to happen. So let's go ahead, refresh these so we can lock and load the correct heroes on here. As we do see, the final draw for Chris is the Nelliclin. Nelliclin, when in line of sight of a pillar, can use any power cards regardless of what runes are required, giving him access to all 4 colors. And his worship ability, remove the pillar, and you get to discard all face-up power cards on Nelliclin's hero. We're going to go ahead and discard. Speaking of Nelliclin, we're going to discard his ultimate, Consulting the Heart. Allows you to search your deck for a power card. Of course, that power card cannot be another hero's ultimate, but very useful for searching through if you want to do something like a Rampant Hatred. And looking at Chris's list here, we don't even have Rampant Hatreds. Oh, yes, we do. They're on Kotlik. Okay, so we do indeed have Rampant Hatreds. I was going to say, I'm not sure how you play a full green squad without bringing Rampant Hatreds. That seems like that would be almost a criminal offense. With that being said, it looks like Michael is opting not to discard anything, so pretty satisfied with his opening hand there. We'll just move Shafathi onto the hero thing there so we can... Oops, that didn't work. Get that back over there properly. There we go. That's the last time I try to help things because I'll just interfere with the board. And we'll go ahead and zoom into the board now. Of course, as I mentioned, I do not have a co-caster here, so I will do my best to make sure that we can leave the board in the neutral position here, like so, to take a look at the action and keep alert to seeing what cards are being played by the players as they come out. So, taking a look at the decks here based on what they've brought, with Tlakali and Astrida sitting on the bench for Chris, Kotlik will bring some Biding Time, Sinkholes, Rampant Hatred. Nelliclin will bring Biding Time, Skytear Discharge, Stone Barricade, and Lords of the Many. Zakol will bring more Skytear Discharge, Psychic Shield, Impervious. Akla will bring Biding Time, Psychic Shield, Strength Over Pain, and Unstoppables. So those Psychic Shields most likely going to become very useful, as yellow does like to deal a lot of damage through power cards. Now, on the other hand, we do see some more cleaning house there. So Michael did, it looks like, opt to discard those cards from his hand. Also, we see a charm there, and I missed the other one, but he is going to discard 2. Michael is going to bring with this team here Skytear Discharge, Time Glitch, and Wind Blast from Ekrit, Charm, Migraine, and Ice Wall from Kenwi, Crippling Precision, Redirect, and Soul Scream from Satheru, Biding Time, Nightmares Incarnate, and Soul Scream from Shafathi. So those Psychic Shields for Chris will be very effective if Michael attempts to do any power card assassinations. Kotlik will first move into the dome here, first activation for Chris. As we mentioned, his heroes are on the right side of your screen, Michael's are on the left. We also now see Kotlik is going to worship. Bringing down the pillars, it is important that Chris does get those pillars established relatively quickly. Putting the pillar back there, interesting positioning, as that I guess he's trying to bait out a potential attack from one of Michael's heroes on the pillar that way. And finally, a lead in the dome. Now, of course, interesting to note that even though Kotlik currently does get 2 armor based on the fact that the pillar is within his line of sight, 2 of Michael's heroes deal piercing damage, which means they don't care about armor at all. The lead action will come from the hand, as we see there, so probably going to be a 3. Chris's deck is fairly stacked with 3 mana cards with this particular lineup. There are a number of zeros on a counterbalance as well, but he does, as I mentioned, have, not including ultimates, it looks to me 3, 6, 8 3 mana cards plus the 4 ultimates. We did see him discard Consulting the Heart, but nevertheless still a number of 3 mana cards that he can use for lead control. Based on the conditions for the battlefield here, I feel like we're going to see one of the objectives related to killing be our win condition, whether the Tamer defeating 2 enemies using the Outsider specifically, or just simply killing 3 heroes for Onslaught. I feel like this is going to be a very bloody game. The last game, if you haven't gotten a chance to check it out, that was Ryan, or also known by his handle as Carito, versus Ian. That was a brilliantly played control game with a lot of shenanigans going on. Very good game to check out. Please do go back and watch that if you have not already. This game, I think, though, will be a little bit more for the bloodlust crowd, such as myself. Mikhael now considering what he wants to do here first up for his action. At some point, I think we will see that he runs Ekert in and wind blasts the minions, but not likely to happen initially. Looks like Kenwi is going to activate here. So Kenwi will be the first one for Mikhael to activate. I suspect that she will possibly go and contest the lane here. We'll see where she goes with this move action. That'll kind of give us some insight into what she plans to do. If she goes, no, she's going into the dome, it looks like. Dropping right there. So Kenwi is going right there. Now, going right there indicates to me that she might be going for an attack on the pillar. Wants to remove the pillar and deny the effects from the rest of the green squad here. Going to pop the illusion, bring the illusion down right there. That means she cannot be targeted by an attack action and is going to lead. So no, not going to attack the green pillar as it is. Now with that particular positioning, she is safe as of right now. Zakol cannot punch her and move her out of the dome, even if the illusion token is destroyed, as both Shafathi and Ekert block her from being pushed backwards. So right now, Kenwi in a reasonably solid place to hold down the dome. We'll see what Chris's next response is. In this situation, I think that you maybe send one of your people to attack a lane, start getting the lane pushing, slow push, maybe then contest for the dome if you attack a minion and then skirmish into the dome. Let's see what we do here. Nelliclin is going to activate, it looks like. Double tapping the Nelliclin, indicating that we want to perhaps do something there with him. Now looking at this deck here, Nelliclin will be able to take advantage of Unstoppable next turn, if he so chooses, with the Flux, as long as he's in line of sight of a pillar, of course. But other than that, Nelliclin's passive not going to do too much for him being in line of sight of the pillar. So let's see what Nelly decides to do. So Nelliclin is going to move. If you run him into the dome right now, I think that's suicide with 3 mages, or with 3 heroes left to move on Michael's side, 2 of whom are ranged. Unless Chris is attempting to go for some sort of a bait. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So Nelliclin is going to go into the dome. So I'm sure Chris has some sort of a plan here. Perhaps an Impervious. Although, again, that won't matter for 2 of the remaining 3 heroes. All right, so, and a +3 on the flip. Not what you want to see when you're disabling an illusion. That being said, Kenwi is now vulnerable to attacks. She will not be able to re-worship until the start of the next round, and Whisper of Nupton is not out yet, as that is coming in the next expansion, Endless Sun, which will debut next Friday the 13th. We are planning a special launch party for Endless Sun. Zaragol, myself, Athusium will be joining the Nerees, and I believe one other special guest, possibly, that's still in the works, to debut the new expansion set and talk about all 4 heroes. So please do tune into that. But as of right now, those cards are not a thing, so we're not going to spend any more time talking about them. Looks like Nelliclin's next, or final action, excuse me, as he's already taken 2 actions, will be to worship. Chris deciding where he wants to put the pillar, putting the pillar down there as well. So, interesting positioning for the pillars. My guess is we're kind of putting the pillars up front here to limit the positions that the illusions can spawn and be placed, because the illusion cannot be put in the same area with a token upon its resolution, or a mini. So by clogging up the board in this manner, it's where further illusions might be able to be placed. All right, so Mikhael is now going to activate. I'm not certain who he's activating, but it is a skirmish. So will we see Ekert? Okay, so Ekert is going in for the skirmish. Interesting. Going to flip against Nelliclin, so 0+ on the flip. First damage will be drawn here. Only 1 on the flip, though. So Nelliclin to 13 HP. Now, the next question here is, Do you... Okay, so we're just going to attack Nelliclin, and then I assume... I'm not sure what I assume, actually. We're going to attack Nelliclin. This will do 2 plus the flip here for Nelliclin. I notice right now that Shafathi seems to be appearing twice on the tracker. I'm not sure why that is the case, so I apologize for that. One of those should be Cytheru. Hopefully that fixes itself. We'll try hitting refresh. All right. So we did see a response from Nelliclin. The Impervious comes down, so Ekrit is the only one that Impervious will affect. Impervious does give +2 armor to the target, so Nelliclin did get 2 armor. The attack did 3 + 1, or excuse me, 2 + 1, which is 3 total. Less the 2 armor means Nelliclin moves to 12 HP. Now worshipping and summoning the illusion right there. Ekrit's illusion will make it so that Kenwi and Ekrit cannot be moved by Zakol. And with the current line set up, you would have to waste all of your actions as Zakol in order... Well, you'd have to move and skirmish to get in range of the token and then use your attack to disable the illusion. So not necessarily the most optimal of plays there. If you do have a strength over pain, perhaps, as Chris, you might destroy the illusion and then attack Kenwi with the frenzied strength over pain. That would be able to push her out of the dome. We might see that option. We'll see what Chris opts to do. Thinking about the Zakol, but might be going with Akla as well now. With that pillar positioning right there, Akla can be on the outside of the dome. If he moves into the bush, worships to summon a pillar that he has line of sight to, Ekrit is targetable as she is adjacent to a pillar and within 3 hexes of Akla's positioning. And so that would just give Chris that slow push in control zone number 1. So we'll see if he opts to go for that play or if we're going to continue to dogpile into the dome. Again, with Kenwi being the leader for Michael here, a final round Zakol push out of the dome with a strength over pain would tip the dome scales in favor of Chris. And getting control of the outsider here does mean that Cytheru is ripe for the picking. Silent Ambassador, very good at dealing out large amounts of damage. Cytheru won't be able to be instantly killed, but a significant amount of damage could be done to set up for an easy turn 2 kill from Chris going first. Possibly seeing that Skytear Flex infused Unstoppable we talked about earlier, or perhaps just a move skirmish attack set up from the Nelliclin. Alright, so Shafathi is going to play Skytear Discharge in response to Akla's move. If you're Chris, you go into the dome. Okay, interesting. So, Skytear Discharge is going to deal 2 plus the flip to any hero that crosses over the white line. So in this position here, Akla is going to move across a white line if he puts him down there. And so we'll take between, let's see how much damage we take here instead of taking a guess. So we move there, discharge goes off. Show me the flip. Show it to me. There we go. Oh, it's a 3. Okay, so flashback is Shafathi's ultimate, not going to be used here for that. And so now 5 damage to Kotlik, not what you want to see, or excuse me, to Akla. So now going to attack and destroy the illusion. That means we are likely going to set up for the Zakol move skirmish attack on Kenwi to punt her out of the dome. So Shafathi or Cytheru really might want to do something about that if possible. With your positioning, you would need to surround Kenwi in a way that is actually not possible because Zakol has 2 routes to get there. Also, we're going to worship, it looks like. Okay, we're going to destroy that pillar. We're going to move it and respawn a pillar over there. Or over there. Somewhere we're going to respawn a pillar. And of course, Akla's ability of Nowhere to Run does deal 1 plus a flip to the hero that next to the adjacent removed. And there's a +3 for Chris. Very nice. So who's taking the damage here? Ekrit is taking the damage. She'll take 3 damage. Ekrit to 13 HP now. So very good use of the +3s there for both players. +3 on the discharge for Mikhael, +3 on the collapsed pillar damage from nowhere to run for Eckert. All right, Shafathi is going to activate. So Shafathi, I think, just kind of comes in here and attempts to assassinate Nelaklin. Perhaps, if there is a Shattermind, Nelaklin could possibly be run down with optimal flips here from Mikhael. He would need to hit 2 +3s in order to finish him off, but also may just opt to slow push a lane as well. Or he might just be setting up potentially on Kotlik, as Kotlik does have 2 armor and Shafathi will ignore that armor. Set up for kind of an easy blowout in round 2 and just start picking off heroes like mad. We'll see what Mikhael's strategy is in just a moment. He could also potentially... no, I don't like that play, so we're not going to mention that. Although, of course, again, as we mentioned, both of these players are 3-0 right now. And so this match is kind of to see who goes 4-0 and who goes 3-1, entering into the top cut stage. More likely than not, both players will make the playoff rounds for the October Clash with this current record. 3-1 traditionally does get you into the top rounds. And so it looks like Shafathi number 2, who might be Satheru. I'm going to try to refresh this again, see if that does anything. Nope, it does not. Okay, so for some reason, we do have Shafathi being stuck as 2 copies, and I have no idea why. So I apologize. One of those is Satheru, one of those is actually Shafathi. We'll make sure to keep track of Satheru's HP if he were to get damaged as we go on throughout the game. While we're at this, we might as well take some time to discuss community events as well. Keep in mind that Buggerlugs is running the painting contest. We still do have 25 days remaining. Your submission deadline for that is November 30th. Remember that each person is given 2 entries, one in the Discord channel and one also on the Board Game Geeks Skytear page. You may submit either a single hero or outsider as your entry, or 1 or more minions of the same faction. All right, back to the match though. Mikhael is going to go ahead and declare a movement action, and now Nelaklin is going to play the Skytear discharge. However, Shafathi has 18 HP, so he's perfectly fine with that. Shafathi will take, only 2 damage on the discharge. Shafathi to 16. So it looks like the third hero down is going to be Satheru, because the one in the bottom ended up dropping the HP, so we'll keep track of that later down the line. So Shafathi is now within range of Nelaklin and Kotlik. So actually Kotlik, now that I look at it, Kotlik only has 10 HP, who would make him easier to kill than Nelaklin. And so we may just see, nope, we're going to go after Nelaklin. Get the mage off the board is Mikhael's plan here. So 3 plus the flip, so 3 damage piercing to Nelaklin. That's going to drop Nelaklin down to 9 HP. 2 actions down. Does Shafathi simply skirmish and potentially reposition himself? The idea here is that we've got to guard Kenwi. Although, again, as I mentioned, Kenwi cannot be totally guarded, as Zakol has 2 routes to get to her. So even if Shafathi blocks off this particular route, which 1, 2, 3, yes, you can do from this positioning, you will not be able to protect her the other direction. So Zakol will still be able to come and push her because of his effects. So skirmish, 1 plus the flip there, piercing. Nelaklin down to 8 hit points as a result of that. Does Shafathi opt to move? I can't really see any benefits necessarily unless you want to clog the dome line, but that seems not necessarily something you would do. I think as Mikhael, this position right here does prevent Kenwi from being attacked on the left side of our perspective. Zakol will have to come in on the right side. Of course, being that this is turn 1 and Mikhael does not have the Flux card, there is not really anything that he can do in order to prevent the pushing here. But nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and skirmish right there just to make doubly sure that Zakol doesn't try any shenanigans. So Zakol now will activate here. Again, we'll see what he opts to do. Excuse me. I do expect him to kick Kenwi out of the dome. Because if you don't, then I think Mikhael has the advantage because Nelaklin is about to die with Cytheru's activation. Also, with this positioning here with Zakol, no, that's not a good plan. So we're going to skirmish. Yep, move against over here. Deal 0 plus the flip, targeting Kenwi. The attack will deal, drumroll please, 1 damage. Kenwi has 1 armor, so nothing happens to her there. Kenwi does not lose HP. And now the last action will be the attack action. Oh, no. We then see the attack action follow through there, dealing 4 damage to Kenwi after her armor. And that pushes her out of the dome and out of control influence. Shafathi is now going to play Biding Time to predict 2. So Mikhael wants to ensure that he is about to pop Nelaklin. Nelaklin has 8 hit points. Skirmish plus attack plus a power card will guarantee that Nelaklin dies here. Mikhael is going to go ahead and discard both the Migraine and the Nightmares Incarnate to further boost the likelihood of flipping the numbers that he needs. Also, when I said that skirmish and attack would guarantee kill, we did need some amount of damage there. It could not be just plus zeros from Mikhael. We would need to see some measure of, I believe, a total of +2 in that situation in order for Nightmares, or excuse me, not Nightmares, Shattermind to do the job. Although now that I look at it, as I mentioned earlier, there is no Shattermind, so that's not going to work. So we do see a Skytear discharge come down again from Chris. So Nelaklin is going to deal some piercing damage. First, we're going to do the skirmish damage against Nelaklin, order of operations here. So 2 damage to Nelaklin, piercing, and now the Skytear discharge goes off against Cytheru. So Cytheru will now take 2 plus the flip here. Another 0 on the flip, unfortunate. So Cytheru down to 12 HP, and just in time, now Cytheru's HP is lighting up correctly. So that problem has been fixed. Cytheru to 12 hit points. Now with this situation, Nelaklin is at 5, which means he is in kill range. If Mikhael flips a +2 on the kill, Nelaklin is dead. Mikhael reorienting the minions so that they face appropriately. The minions should not be giving each other the stink eye from the side. You should face each other proudly in battle and stare down your foe to assert dominance. The next action from Mikhael, I assume we will see an attack. And on the attack, do we see... and Cytheru plays... Oh, so we have a double use of Crippling Precision here. So Crippling Precision. Target hero gets +1 attack when they declare damage an enemy with an attack action or a skirmish action. Apply the slow. So this is now going to give Cytheru a 5 +1 flip. That does 6 damage. And that does kill Nelaklin. So Nelaklin is down. 1 point of onslaught to Mikhael. Yikes. So now, Cytheru has 1 action left. I think you lead here as your final action in order to contest the lead that Chris has with Kotlik. So you are a little bit sad about having to lose the Kenwi card, but at the end of the day, you killed Nelaklin, you got a point on Onslaught, so things do shake out. Shafathi looks to have led with Crippling Precision. Or perhaps we were just cleaning up there. No, Shafathi didn't lead, so we won't see that. We're going to go ahead and stack some minions up here. Both lanes were a draw. So we have 4 minions in each lane for both sides. Again, no objectives for pushing, but in the event that perhaps you want to kill a minion or 2 and just kind of slow push that tower. But this looks to me like this is going to be all dome, all game contention here. Mikhael does now have the hero advantage, though, so he might use that to kind of split Chris's focus, especially given that Kotlik is already at 10 HP. If the Silent Ambassador here is won by Mikhael, that's going to bring Kotlik dangerously low for the start of round 2. So let's see what the results were here. Kenwi led with a 3. We don't care about Kenwi. We mostly care about Cytheru, and I did not see what Cytheru's lead was, so we're going to zoom out real quick here. It was a 3 as well. Okay. and versus the 3 of Kotlik. So net of no outsiders spawning. Let's go ahead and reorient our board there. Looks good. So no outsider spawn there as a result. So draws all around the field. And we go into round number 2. Now, round number 2 does make things a little more interesting. As I mentioned, Nelliclin might have liked to take advantage of the Unstoppable. However, Nelliclin is dead. Dead heroes cannot lead, nor can they play power cards. So Nelliclin will have to wait until turn 3 in order to come back and do anything. So now, Chris will go ahead and activate first, but Michael will get to end the round with 2 activations. So, unless Chris is able to kill Cytheru here, this is going to be a little bit dicey, I think. Now, given the positioning here, Cytheru is fairly vulnerable to a move, skirmish, and attack from Kotlik. If Chris has a Rampant Hatred, that would be really good here, because you would be able to get +3 for 2 skirmishes, and potentially collapse the pillars, although you would need to burn a move action, so you wouldn't be able to use both. All right, let's see what happens here. So we're going to go ahead and declare an attack from Zakol. So we are, it looks like, attacking Cytheru. That's going to be 2 on the flips there. Cytheru down to 7 HP, 5 damage to Cytheru, and not going to move him, it looks like. Ekrit's Illusion is not out, so the immovability effects are fine. Michael is indicating something here. I'm not sure what it is that we're missing. He did ping the hex down for some reason. Okay. Well, Cytheru gets pushed back anyway, so... And now we're going to see Zakol's chase him down with a skirmish. Ooh, and a 3 on the flip for the skirmish. All right, Cytheru to 4. Now, does Zakol pop a Rampant Hatred? No, he plays a Strength over Pain. So Strength over Pain, sacrifice 2 HP, and the caster gets Frenzy. This is going to allow Zakol to do a second attack and put Cytheru into the respawn chamber as well, and give Chris a point on Onslaught. Declaring the Frenzied attack against Cytheru here. This is going to do 3 plus the flip, as long as Chris does not hit a 0. As Cytheru does have 4 hit points, and if this shows up to be a 0, that's going to be a real feels bad ban moment. But that is the risk that you get whenever you stack your deck in the way that it has been for Chris. We have seen a number of the 0s flipped already, but it is possible he might flip one of the Strength over Pains, which would actually be even worse. So, not yet going through with the flip, so I think Michael may have a response. Do we have a Migraine coming out from Michael to apply Disarm? Kenway is packing the disarms from the Migraines. No, Cytheru is going to play a Nightmares Incarnate. So Cytheru is not going to go down without a fight. He will damage Zakol for 3 before he dies. Interesting that he didn't target Kotlik, though, as Kotlik is already fairly wounded. So 3 damage from Nightmares Incarnate. Nothing special about Nightmares Incarnate. It is a reaction card. You just simply deal 3 damage to the target hero. So now the attack will resolve. And what do we have? Anybody? Are we going to resolve the attack? Maybe not. Thinking about it. Maybe another reaction possibly. Ekrit may have something to say about this. Or Shafathi may have something to say about this. Playing things out. Well, while we do that, let's go ahead and continue with our community events. As I mentioned, there is the Endless Sun launch party next Friday, November 13th. It is definitely not February. It is November the 13th. So Zaragul, Athusium, myself, the Nereis will be going to showcase all the new cards, all the new heroes. We have a show match planned for you. It's going to be really exciting. Hopefully you guys all tune in. I believe that is scheduled to start at 4 p.m. GMT -5. So I'm not going to do time zone conversions. We all know that just leads terribly. And Zakol is now going to play Skytear Discharge. So guaranteeing that even on the flip, dead Cytheru. So Cytheru is going to take 5 damage here, but in the event that he didn't die, the Skytear Discharge would have killed him as he gets pushed through the dome. It would have dealt any remaining HP to Cytheru, but that being said, we have a dead Cytheru, so now that is an onslaught point for Chris, and Cytheru to respawn in turn 3. Now, Cytheru did not activate yet, so therefore he gets to come back next turn, as opposed to poor Neliclin, who has to wait an entire round before getting to respawn, as he had already activated before being killed. So with that, the level field is now 3-3 heroes, although of course Zakol has already activated. Cdubs is withdrawing an action for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on there. So we'll wait to see what's being resolved in that manner there. And in addition to the Endless Sun, of course, we do want to mention that Smiaz is starting to work on deck tech videos. A lot of you have requested deep dives and analysis of the theory that some of our top level players come up with behind why we put certain cards on certain heroes and what is the overall strategy with a hero, how to pivot during the draft in response to your opponents. Smiaz has taken up the challenge then. I believe he's said his goal is to try and do one video or so a week regarding deck tech development from his perspective. And Smiaz, great guy, very knowledgeable about Skytear, very strong player as well. So please do go ahead and check out his videos in order to gain some insight into his perspective of how the game is played. In addition to that, of course, we also have the Outsiders Only. Outsiders Only is our weekly podcast of the fans, for the fans, by the fans. Zaragol, Ryan, and myself are the crew there. This week we will be featuring Rafa Nunez as our guest to speak on behalf of his development during the Brazilian scene. All right, looks like we finally have some stuff going on. So meanwhile, we do see that Eckert has gained Frenzy, using a charm, I assume. Yep, using the charm. The attack from Zakol does still go through, as the attack is already on the stack, but Eckert did steal the charm over there. I do apologize, I missed the charm. Charm allows you to remove a condition from an enemy hero, or from one hero. If it is an enemy hero, then you are able to apply that to yourself. So Eckert did steal over that. Eckert now does have Frenzy. And we'll go ahead and give Chris an onslaught token, since it looks like they're not going to do that. So now Eckert has Frenzy. Now Eckert, with the Wind Barrier, is able to push heroes out of the dome, so she may opt to use that to push Zakol or to push Akla. As it stands, you cannot push Kotlik from where his positioning is. So we're going to finish off Zakol's turn with a Worship. Continuing to spam those pillars there. So in this situation now, if I'm Michael, I'm getting a little bit concerned. Now, you could use Eckert, move her out into the lane, summon your illusion, and then Wind Barrier down those two pillars as a possible action. That kind of feels really bad to waste your abilities like that. But it might also prevent Kotlik from going on in a Rampant Hatred play that does, frankly, enough damage to probably run Shafathi from 16 to 0. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go. Shafathi will now activate. Shafathi is going to start off with a piercing attack against Zakol. 5 damage piercing. Zakol down to 8 hit points. Oh, excuse me. Got the hiccups going on there. I apologize for that. So going to continue working down Chris's heroes here in the center. Michael's now going to go for the skirmish action, I assume again targeting Zakol, as we seem to work that down. 2 damage on the flip there. Zakol to 6 HP now, getting dangerously low. And we're going to skirmish now near Akla. So kind of spreading our heroes out a little bit and repositioning. And then finally, Michael will lead from the deck, it looks like. Leads from the deck, yes. All right, so Shafathi bringing Zakol low enough that with a little bit of magical voodoo here, possible to kill him off. Kenway might move in for an attack against Zakol to kill him off, with a little bit of help from another spell card coming from Shafathi. Shafathi still has 2 mana. Kenwi also has her mana as well, although Zakol will have an armor point against any spells that she casts, so we'll see how that pans out. If I'm Cdubs, it looks like we're going to activate Kotlik here, removing 1, 2, 3 pillars, so that gives +3 skirmish damage to Kotlik, placing a new pillar down to give him that +1 armor, so actually that'll be +2 armor total, and here goes the Skytear Flex. If Michael does not respond, here comes Rampant Hatred. Okay, so Kotlik is going to go on a rampage. That is +3 from Rampant Hatred, +3 from the pillar removal. This is a +6 skirmish attack, and it is a free action, which means that that Kotlik will be able to do that again for another +6, which means that in all likelihood, Shafathi is about to die. So we see the skirmish attack now going against Shafathi, it looks like. Does Michael have a response to the Rampant Hatred being played? That can be the only reason, I think, before we see this. Nope. Oh, and a +3 on the flip. Ouch. So that's going to be 9 damage. Shafathi all the way down to 7. We're going to go ahead now and, I guess, leave right there. So, yeah, leave right there. That makes sense. Your next skirmish is going to be against Shafathi again. +1 kills him. And then that allows you to potentially use your attack action against Ekrit. So this is another +6 skirmish. Okay, we're just fixing the action overlay. Oh no, it's in a 0. That means Shafathi survives with 1. So unfortunately, that means we do have to burn the attack in order to hit Shafathi and kill him. But it does now change the field from, at the start of the turn, we had 4-3 heroes in Michael's favor, and now it's 3-2 in favor of Chris. So does the final action go to killing Shafathi? Or does he leave him alive and let Akla finish him off with a potential skirmish? Nope. We're going to flip that over there. -1. Good time to see the -1 there, as it does not matter. Shafathi now respawns in turn 4, and Chris is on game point with Onslaught. So this is shaping up to be a very violent game, just what we hoped for here. 2 more cards to Chris's hand. 5-3. Akla still does have full mana. It is very likely that Zakol is going to die to Kenwi, potentially. Well, maybe not. Zakol does have 6 hit points. I don't think there's a Nightmare Incarnate or a Migraine card in hand. Otherwise, Shafathi would have played that in order to save himself, or at least deal damage beforehand. So Kenwi is going to go ahead and move in. She will now attack. Oh no, she's going to skirmish. Okay, so is he going after Akla? Oh, I think I have my HP trackers wrong. This is Akla down here. Yep, that is Akla with 10 HP, not Kotlik. I apologize. Also over there on our tracker, I could see that. I apologize. I mix up the green heroes a lot. So my apologies for that. Kotlik is at 18, so Kotlik is definitely not going to die. Meanwhile, we're going to damage the Zakol there. 1 point of damage on the skirmish, +2 on the flip, minus the Zakol's armor brings him to 5. With a +3 on the flip, Kenwi does kill with an attack. So the kill potential is there for Michael if he's feeling lucky on the gamble. Again, as I mentioned, no sign of a Nightmares Incarnate. Shafathi would have cast that. Okay, Kenwi's going to play Biding Time to predict. So now Michael can take a look at his deck and see if he can ensure that a +3 comes out for the flip. Taking a look at his cards, Biding Time does allow you to predict 2. Pick your cards up, take a look at them. He is going to discard the Nightmares Incarnate, which would be only a +1. That's not going to be enough. Looks like he's putting the other one back on the top of his deck, which means that I think means that it's a +3 there for him, which will be enough to kill off Zakol as a result. Let's see what happens. Or he might just simply do a lead action. Okay, nope, looks like we're also discarding that there. Or we're going back to reviewing the cards that Michael had predicted. Okay. What do we have here? All right, so Michael is now going to go for the attack. Attack on Zakol. And there's the last judgment from Cytherio. Even though he's gone, doesn't stop him from influencing the battlefield. So now Michael is on game point for Onslaught. So next hero to die, that person's controller loses, that hero's controller loses the game. And as we mentioned, Akla is sitting at 10, which means Akla is kind of the favored candidate here to get killed. Now, that being said, Kenway and Ekrit have not led, although Ekrit still has yet to go. Which means I think that Ekrit, with some good flips, might actually just be able to kill Akla. So Akla now needs to do something to ensure his survival. Ekrit is at 13, Kenway is at 14. Both of them have 1 armor. It is not likely that you'll be able to kill either of them, even with a Strength over Pain card to be played. So, And with Ekrit, you don't necessarily even need line of sight, because you can just summon your Wind Barrier and attack twice. So with 2 attacks and a skirmish, Mikhael is well positioned to kill Akla in this in Ekrit's activation. Akla, This is going to be interesting to see what Akla does in order to survive. Looking at the deck list here, Impervious would be a card. We have seen Impervious come out once already. Impervious would allow Akla to survive the attacks from Ekrit. Don't see anything else in here that would be useful. Potentially a Stone Barricade if he repositions Akla and Ekrit tries to do some funny business with positioning. Stone Barricade might prevent her from positioning where she wants to. So Akla is going to play Biding Time now, allowing Chris to predict 2. Take a look at his options. Again, as I mentioned, even with a Biding Time, even with a Frenzied Strength over Pain attack, not going to be enough damage to kill either of Mikhael's heroes here. And if you flee the dome, Mikhael just kind of summons the outsider and kills you. So I think Akla has to stay in the dome and has to lead. Otherwise, the Silent Ambassador just comes in and finishes the job for you. So we do see 1 Lord of the Many being discarded. That makes sense, as the only 2 heroes on the field right now are red-green heroes. Lord of the Many is... Well, Lord of the Many is a green card. So that actually is a moot point. For some reason, I thought it was blue because it flashed up in blueprint. So not good there. But Lord of the Many, not really relevant in this game, given that they're in the dome right now. And Lord of the Many does give you skirmish damage for friendly minions. Obviously, with 4 minions, you could burn a move, play Lord of the Many, and then get +4 skirmish. But as Akla only has 1 mana at this point, and Lord of the Many is a 2 mana card, we could not play that this round. So we will see what Cdubs' play is for Akla. That being said, I'm not sure what we can do in this place. We, of course, I mean Chris, can do in this space. If you leave the dome, then Mikhael just summons the Wind Barrier, deals some light damage to you, and then leads to get control of the dome, and then uses the Silent Ambassador to finish the job. Silent Ambassador must spawn adjacent to the perimeter of her dome, which means no matter where Akla runs to, she can, the Silent Ambassador can get to him relatively easily within, at most, a skirmish action. So I don't... And if you stay in the dome, then Ekrit just gets to double attack and skirmish against you for 4 + 2 modifiers, and then potentially a skirmish, so that might just kill you off there. So I think Mikhael is in a very strong position at this point, and I'm not sure what Chris can do. Okay, I think Michael's pinging that you might be able to flee your way over there. We're pinging that. I'm not sure why we're pinging that hex there. If you did, that was the cover hex that I was thinking of, where you would be able to flee temporarily from the Silent Ambassador. But overall, you can run, but you can't hide. ultimately is the thing. Although positioning there would make it so that Ekrit can't get you with her wind barrier, as the wind barrier does require Ekrit to have line of sight. And so therefore, that position would prevent the wind barrier attacks from being able to reach him if Ekrit wants to stay inside the dome. Now, she may opt to simply tie the dome, but the problem with that is Nelliclin is coming back next turn, and that leaves her exposed outside. Turn 3, Nelliclin is certainly more than capable of dishing out 13 points of damage with some attacks, some Rampant Hatreds, and potentially cleansing the mana to do a second Rampant Hatred, or perhaps a Lord of the Many himself. So I don't think that you want, as Michael, I don't think that you want to give up the dome here. Silent Ambassador can deal 3+ the flip on her attack, 1+ the flip on the Stone Storm, and skirmish damage, 0+ the flip there. Alright, so it looks like Akla is going to activate. Finally, perhaps. Maybe not. False alarm. Okay. Back to planning there. So the Silent Ambassador, as I said, does essentially 3 + 1 + 0 + the 3 flips. So we're looking at 4 plus the value of 3 flips there. With 10 hit points and being unable to play Impervious, Michael would need to hit 3 +2s on average. And looking at his deck, there are a lot of +2s in here. There are several +0s based on the heroes that he's brought. We have seen 3 of the ultimates, I believe. I'm sorry, we've seen 2 of the ultimates. We saw Last Judgment and we saw Flashback. I don't believe we've seen either Echo Dance or Eye of the Storm, so there are those cards in there. All right, Kenway is going to play Biding Time. So Kenway is going to do some predictions in response here, setting up Ekrit's turn, it looks like. For what may come. Again, of course, the Biding Time card we have seen. Now, Michael has talked a lot about Biding Time and his love for it. So Biding Time is a very good +2 on the flip, but also with Doom being prevalent in the field, it is useful as an antimatter, as an anti-Doom kind of trap. All right, meanwhile, we do see that Chris has resolved the attack. We are going to attack Ekrit, dealing damage, bringing her down to 4. Now it looks like we're going to target her with a skirmish, perhaps. Ekrit is not able to do any moves or anything, I don't believe, as I don't think there's a time warp or anything here from Michael. No time warps, nope. Although, with the kill on Zakol, Michael did get to draw 2 cards. He may now have a Migraine or a Nightmares Incarnate, something that he wishes to play, in order to further damage Akla and make the Frenzied Kill be easier. Nope, looks like not the case. So we do see the skirmish flip there, +1 on the skirmish. No damage to Ekrit. And now we're going to, I assume, move to the left. Maybe not move to the left. Slide to the left. Slide to the right. Cha-cha. Now, maybe. Who knows? Michael is pinging that hex again, reminding Chris that if you don't move in there, Ekrit is going to come and light you on fire. So, Akla being moved now to the skirmish and then going for the move into the cover hex. So this guarantees that Michael gets control of the dome. You could move... yeah, I think you just wait. You use your attacks hitting Zakol twice, or excuse me, Kotlik twice, or you can pop the pillar and then hit Kotlik, because with the dome control, you have a much more realistic chance of killing Akla. And in addition to that, Ekrit's going to play Time Glitch. Okay, so never mind. We're just going to go straight up and kill Akla. With this play here, because this is going to allow for... Time Glitch gives you fast, which gives us 5 movement hexes here, and allows you to remove a condition from the hero. Obviously, as all heroes' conditions on Ekrit are beneficial, she does not want to do that. So now she is going to declare a move for 5 spaces. That's going to bring her to the cover hex right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Michael, you could move one more. Michael? What? Okay. Okay, so apparently we're just... No, you... What? Michael, what are you doing? Michael, you can't... You don't have line of sight to her illusion. You can't do that. I don't think that's allowed. Although Michael knows Nupton better than me, I'm pretty sure that you can't do that. But, well, doesn't really matter. Okay, so apparently that doesn't matter because there comes the Silent Ambassador. We're not going to even resolve, and that is the end of the game. All right, so onslaught victory for Michael. Let's go ahead and talk with the players. Gents, good game.
Yeah, the fast.
Yep.
Man, that was intense.
That was
I
intense.
was not sure I was going to pull this one out.
I messed up, and when I already was like, yeah, I already cast it. I didn't know if I could still cast Biding Time after I had cast Rampant Hatred, and he said pass.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I can't cast the Biding Time here to be able to ensure that I kill the Shafathi. And then I could declare an attack on Ekrit then, and I had the frenzy for the Akla to be able to potentially kill Ekrit.
Oh, you had a frenzy in hand?
Yeah, I had another one. I should have enough to kill you from here. That's what I was
Yeah.
depending on my skirmish. If I got a +2, I might go for it. Well, I still couldn't get it.
Yeah, you would have
It's
needed
still
a
like one
3
off.
and then another 3, I
Plus
think.
2, yeah. It's not enough. It was literally the whiff on the Kotlik. And not Biding Time previous before that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So also my apologies. Yeah, for some reason I thought I remembered someone telling me that you had to have line of sight in order to use the wind barrier. With the
No.
So that's why I was like, wait a minute, what? That's not right. But apparently it was right. And
He's OP.
yeah, you obviously know Nupton far better than I do. So.
I mean, it's not like I've been playing this this composition for 6 months or anything.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. So I was lied to. That's okay. It's fine. I'm still pretty sure that despite that, the number of missed calls that I've made between both the games is less than yours. So ultimately, I consider it a net win.
Nice.
In fact, a net win for you.
That was a good game, though. It was just a little dome pile game.
That was was really fun.
Yeah.
Always a fun time when Skytear Master, Tamer, and Onslaught are on the field. There might as well have been like hunting for power, right? Like the Tamer didn't really matter.
Nope.
Hunting
The
for
Master
power
didn't matter. Master didn't matter either.
Master didn't matter.
Nope.
Like
Should've
it
just
was
put
literally
Lane.
just Onslaught.
It's so weird because he's like, well, you have to tie it or they probably win. Especially taking the advantage of the Silent Ambassador, like to its full potential. Like you can't play around it very easily. I was trying to figure out a way to play around Ekrit double pushing me out of the dome, and I couldn't find one.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, yeah, I run over here, and hopefully he doesn't have a fast, which he did.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the debate I was having. Like, if you run out of the dome, then he just gets the Silent Ambassador and kills you. But if you don't run out of the dome, then Ekrit just sits there and shoots you and possibly kills you.
Well, if I'm at 10, he needs
+3s on everything.
+3s. He said he would skirmish, attack, and then Stone Storm. So he needs like +2, +2, +2,
Yes.
or better.
Yes.
We did all math. We were like talking about it. It was just like, yeah, it's over.
Yep.
Like there's only 2 options here.
He I honestly I don't know that going first in this matchup is the correct play. Like as between the Onslaught and the Skytear Master and the Tamer, like you can.
I felt my flux was my only out though to rampant hatred you to be able to gain an advantage because I thought you were gonna bring in another mage too. I thought you were just gonna go all double mage. Oh, you didn't do a double mage, but I thought you were gonna bring Habarad in too.
So it was between Kenwi and Habarat. I almost didn't bring Kenwi, and instead brought Habarat, but Kenwi's illusion kind of stopped a whole attack. Kenwi's illusion and Eckert's illusion both saved so much damage.
It did, and I was +3 on both of those.
I know, I saw that. I was like, that's not where you want to spend your +3s. No.
I was debating on not going for the kill the Eckert illusion either, but I did want to Zakol push him out.
Right.
Because I had the frenzy, and I could I could have double pushed Eckert too. That's what I was debating. I didn't know. I was just yeah, I'll just go for the Kenwi because he already led from hand with her. Yeah. And then he has to kill Nelliclin, which he did, but
poor Nelliclin.
It was stressful. I had to play both of my crippling precisions in order to ensure that kill, and I didn't want I'd already wasted my biting time. It was tense for me. It was crazy. And then I had to lead from the top of the deck. I had to kill Nelliclin and then lead from the deck.
Yes.
And
lead a 3 from the deck, and this composition carries.
Yeah, that sucked. I wanted to win that so bad. I knew it because of his flips. He had a good chance it was a 3 because there was a lot of non-3s in his flips.
Right.
This composition runs 8 3s, so I had it was a 1 or 2. Let's see, I had 3 3s in my discard and none in my hand, and I think at that point I had 14 cards, so 5 and 4, so 1/3 chance, a 1/3 chance of tying up the dome, and that was my out. That was my whole out. Otherwise, he gets the Silent Ambassador. He starts pressing his advantage, and I just lose.
Oh man, you were all bunched up. It would have been a Stone Storm heyday right there.
Yeah, no, it was
predict 2, set up 2 really good attacks, and then just kill you next turn easily. Yeah, it was rough. It was a good game. It was some variance, but yeah, I liked it.
Yep.
It was fantastic, and it was a great I feel like I would show anyone this game if they asked what the difference between Nupton and Taulot was, because I feel like this was a fantastic depiction of the difference between an aggressive Taulot and an aggressive Nupton list.
Yeah, you have better illusions. Also, if I placed that pillar over here instead, I could have worshipped, had more damage potential, maybe be able to kill Eckert. That was because I had the frenzy plus that damage potentially. But it would have been down to flips, but that's my only out at that point, right?
Yeah, I don't know. The killing the Eckert would have been, but then you're risking killing the Eckert with the double skirmish would have been a great way to make sure that Eckert doesn't get the double frenzy.
You're right. That's probably the right.
But then you have to deal with the Shafathi. Or no, the Shafathi had already gone.
He already went.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably made a mistake right there. Because I forgot she had the frenzy, and then I realized it later, and I was like, shit.
Yep. And that. I mean that's all right. We all make mistakes like that. I get tunnel vision, and worship on the outsider, and then attack the outsider, and then I skirmish away from the outsider, and then Clinton worships on Nelliclin, skirmishes into the dome, and wins.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Nelliclin.
Yeah, I just had tunnel vision because it's I can kill Shafathi easier is what I'm thinking, but the more important play is just kill Eckert because she's gonna do some work.
Yeah, that would have been 9 plus 6. Yeah, 9 plus 6, so 15. And I think Eckert at that point was down to 13, minus 2, so...
Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damage.
that would have literally killed her. You would have had the that's kind of funny, because you would have killed. Well, hold on, because Ekert was at 13, because Kotlik would have double skirmished and then been able to attack the Shafathi anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
Good call. Good to know. It's good, something interesting to learn. Like just learn from my mistake there, and just always kind of like debate on like who's important to kill instead of like just killing in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's more important to think of who to kill, I guess, sometimes.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much,
get-
gentlemen. Do either of you have any closing remarks to make?
No, it's fun.
All right. Thank you
Play
very
more
much.
Skytear, folks.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Then, on behalf of Michael and Chris, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you guys in the next.